And welcome back to Clutch Time. Today, we're talking about the team that I think is most likely to make a comeback here in SimWorld U. Next, we're going to be talking about just a brief reflection here, looking back at the SWBA draft and some of my key takeaways here. But let's go ahead and let's jump into it. And let's start with comeback season. And so when we're talking about comeback season, I think the team that is going to have the comeback season, it's going to be Syracuse. I think that Syracuse is going to be that team that is going to have the comeback season. And, just getting a chance here to take a look at some of the things that they were showing here at the scrimmage. And so, I think that the first thing, key takeaway here is that this team, as far as the style and the way that they want to play, I think it's going to get executed to the T. I think that that's what you get with Coach Drayton, is just the fact that he's going to be able to come in, really instill, I think, some execution here amongst these young men. And then also, too, just holding these guys accountable. And so it just seems like just the vibes that I'm getting here from the scrimmage, it just looks like that these guys are absolutely locked in. And I can't wait to see, because I want to see, what happens with this team, especially offensively. Are they the team that wants to get out and just really press the pace and just try to wear teams down like that? What does this team do when it comes down to really having to just kind of focus and figure out a way in the half court game? I think that that's going to be where we see the real sign of maturity from this team. But again, I think that just when you take a look at this scrimmage thus far, I think that you see a team that, they just look a lot better than they did a season ago. And just this is the team that I think, they're really going to shock some people here, and not just in the conference, but I do think, across the country, that they are going to be heard from. And so Syracuse, a team that I think everybody should be looking out for. And so shout out to Coach Drayton, because these guys, have brought in some great players, and just cannot wait to see what that all looks like here. And so again, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. Do you feel like that Syracuse is going to be that team that you feel is going to really shock some people here, and not just in their conference here in the ACC? I'm talking about just across the country, because I do think that there is, the real possibility that maybe this team is in the rankings, at the end of the year. And so we'll see what happens there. And so shout out to Syracuse and Coach Drayton here for letting me get a chance to take a look here at some of the scrimmages, or scrimmage footage, I should say. And so with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and jump over into what took place here at the SWBA draft, and really talking about that. And so, starting with the key takeaways, and I think that this is something that just really everybody has talked about, and that is what went on with just Lamarian Sherwood and him falling down, and just really now the possibilities between him and Jalen Snow, and how that duo is going to work out. And so I know, a lot of people are talking about the fact that, he's not as mobile. Can he be a player that guards at the next level or whatnot? I can tell you that this guy is putting in the work ethic, and I think that Utah really got them one. And I think that Utah really can still shake it up here. I know that Walker Kessler has been mentioned there, but I think it's a real possibility that maybe Utah could maybe move on from Walker Kessler, or really any of the other centers that they have there. So I think that you wouldn't want to rule out the possibility that Lamarian Sherwood could get some good minutes here to start off. And so I think that that was just one of the key takeaways here from the SWBA draft, is that he slid. And I think that there's a good possibility that he could get some good minutes here to start off. Next, I wanted to go ahead and reflect on what the Timberwolves did. And so I like the fact that they went out there and they got Pooh Lewis. I think that this was a terrific pick. And I think that this goes very well with really what Anthony Edwards and just the style of play that the Minnesota Timberwolves have. I think that now they can get them a legit scorer that can help facilitate, and just gives, Anthony Edwards perhaps, another player that he can go to in the clutch. And I think that that's really what it's all about. You don't want the floor to get crowded. And so I think the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves went out and got Pooh Lewis, I think that this was a terrific pick. Next, Going back to my Chicago Bulls, man, I mean, with Carl Holmes, look, I think that if anybody needed a center, it was going to be the Chicago Bulls. And ironically, Jamison Johnson slid to pick number 11 to the Memphis Grizzlies. And so I'm shocked that the Bulls did not get on the phone here and try to get up to get Jamison Johnson. I think that that would have been a perfect fit to really go with their guard play. I think that they need, some front court interior play. And so the fact that they not only missed on Jamison Johnson, but also to passed on Lamarian Sherwood, I think that that's interesting. And not to take anything away from Carl Holmes, because I do think that he's definitely a winner. I love the fact that he can defend multiple spots, which is something that really this team does need as far as defending and things like that, and especially on the perimeter. And so hopefully he brings a little bit of toughness there, because one of the things that you want to change is the identity of the team. And so hopefully we see that. We'll see what happens here. Next, I wanted to reflect here on LaGerald Carroll. I thought that the Phoenix Suns bringing him in, I think that that's a terrific piece there, especially once you move on from Kevin Durant. I wonder now, what is it going to look like as far as extending out Devin Booker? How do you continue to build with this team? Because I do like some of the stuff that they did there at center. I like the fact that they're trying to think here, okay, well, how can we work off of Devin Booker? How can we really stretch the floor that way? So LaGerald Carroll, I think, makes a lot of sense here. So I do like what the Phoenix Suns did right there. Next, look, man, I love the San Antonio Spurs, because the San Antonio Spurs continue to keep winning. I think that Donald Infetti was a player that a lot of people forgot about, and I think that he's going to fit well with what the Spurs want to do. We know that those guys really don't vary from the type of play style that they want to run, and you talk about discipline. The Spurs are definitely disciplined. So he's over there. He's got some young talent. I like the fact that they pair him with Wembanyama. They also too have De'Aaron Fox as well. So I think that Donald Infetti is going to fit in just fine here with the San Antonio Spurs. And so one of my key takeaways there. And so next, I just want to give Brooklyn a lot of credit, because I think that Brooklyn did a terrific job with all the picks that they had. And now I'm curious to see, can Brooklyn really come up with a plan? And does this roster construction really work out? And so I like that the fact that they got Johnny Basketball Baldwin. Hopefully this is something that really gives this team an identity, because I think with Brooklyn, that's the one thing that they've really lacked, especially since they've moved on from the big three with Kyrie, James Harden, and also to Kevin Durant. So anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. Once again, I got Syracuse as my comeback team of the year coming up. And so comeback season, as they say. And then also too, you guys let me know as far as the biggest reflections that you have here about the SWBA draft. And so we'll be talking a little bit more. Hopefully I'll be able to dive a little bit more deeper into SimWorld U coming up this season. And so, as we always say, look, see the game, be the game. It's clutch time. I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.